So welcome back to another video. We're at the workshop here on Saturday once again. Obviously we're going to work on the Micra as we always do every Saturday. So yeah, today's episode we're going to fit the carbon fibre panels that Ilya Krylov from GizFab had made us this past week, and there's a separate video on that. It's probably out already, so go give that a watch, as well as heading over to Ilya's channel, which is GizFab, and check out all the time lapses and details on how he's produced these parts for us. So yeah, we've got the front wings, the rear arches and the bonnet to fit. So as part of the process that we've done is we've not used a complex three-piece mould, so we haven't retained all the factory mounting points. So a lot of these panels are going to fit differently to how they would do in a road car. So with the wings, for example, I've actually already started to fit one of them to the car. So obviously I've put a riv nut here in the A-pillar to secure it there. I've put another riv nut in the bottom of the sill to secure it there. And then we need to make some form of bracket to tie it into one of these bolt holes here. Right, so what I've done this side, just sort of demonstrate what I've done, is I've put two riv nuts in the chassis there. Now usually it would go into this bolt here and this bolt here. Fortunately, because of the moulding process, we haven't managed to retain the slip, but we have two bolts in there to stop the wing twisting. So I'll just put two bolts in there. We've drilled two holes in the bottom of the carbon. So we'll get this bolted on and then we'll get on to the second tab. Right, so I've come across a bit of an issue, and that is because of, obviously we're missing all the back structure of the panel. We've got this sort of like massive sort of like lips. Now I've rectified this by putting some nuts, which you can see there, but basically a nut behind the panel to space it out, because rather than use a load of washers, just quickly use a nut. So just undo this quickly, put that behind there, let's see how the panel gap is. Right, so that's much better, got a better panel gap there now. So the next issue I've got to sort is this issue. Now luckily on the other wing that we did, we've managed to pick up a couple of the bolt mounting points, so this side's not going to be a problem. But this side, yeah, we need to sort of like have some sort of tab here so we can pick up this this bolt hole here, and maybe one down the bottom here as well. So yeah, let's figure that out. So another thing we've got to sort while the wings are off is that the old steel wings had a retaining nut for this top headlight pickup point. Obviously the carbon ones haven't got that, so just going to use a bit of aluminium angle. Just going to slide it in there, and then we should be able to drill a hole in there, put a riv nut in there, and that's headlight sorted. Right, so that's the driver's side headlight and the wing back on with all the brackets. Yeah, I'll do the job. We've just put the old steel bonnet back on because we've still got the locating pieces with the bonnet pins, just to check panel gaps. And yeah, it's not looking too bad. We can adjust this slightly if we ever wanted to, just by packing the that mount underneath here with a couple of washers. But yeah, overall I think that's looking pretty good. The arch is on there. I mean, it's a bit, you know, flimsy in places, but that's the whole point of carbon fibre, is it stays flexible. So we're just going to come over here and do the passenger side, and the passenger side is going to be a bit easier because we've managed to retain on this one a couple of the locating points for some nuts and bolts. Ilya did this one after that side and then realised we could improve on it, so that's why we've got some mounting locations in this one but not the other one. So this one should take seconds in comparison to mount. So yeah, let's get this on, and then we can look at getting the bonnet mounted. arch to the passenger side arch was much easier to put on and quicker. We have got the panel gap this side is a bit better than the other side, so we've maybe just got to play around with this side a bit just to get that panel gap closed up, but race car and all that, it's not that important. So next we've got to mount the bonnet. Now we've already laid the bonnet on top, so we know we've got clearance, so we're going to keep these pin positions in the front here in the same place, and then in the rear we think we're going to put the pins in roughly about here, and then we'll go into the steel work here, and we'll put an M10 riv nut in there. So we've got the bonnet marked up to drill the pins. We've just used a bit of RTV on top of the pins and just sort of like laid it down on top, like so, and that's give us our starting points to get a drill in there. So we're going to locate all 4 pins first before we start cutting the teardrops out of the error catches. I just sort of take a time because we've only really got one shot with this. We haven't really got time to make another one. I mean, we could put the steel one back on, but yeah. So now we're going to drill the holes for the pins. Once we've got the rear pins lined up, we'll line up the front pins, drill them holes as well, and then we'll start to cut out all the teardrops for the catches. So we've got the bonnet back on, we've got it lined up nice, the holes are in the right location, so that's good. A trick we like to use when fitting these error catches is to just sort of put a bit of masking tape down, poke the eyelet through the bonnet, and then sort of clip it down on the exterior of the bonnet, and then that gives us go around it with a pen, and that gives us a cut line. Right, so that's the rear pins in the bonnet. It's come out really well. So now we've got a sort of datum point, and you know, the back part of the bonnet isn't going to move and sort of like destroy our mock-up work at the front. We'll go ahead and put the pins back in the front of the bonnet. We'll do the same trick with a bit of RTV silicone and just sort of like plonk the bonnet down on the silicone, so we've got our blobs, and then we can drill our holes, and then we'll do the exact same process again with that. There we go. So yeah, really happy about it's come out. We've got all 4 bonnet pins in. Yeah, so we have suffered a bit of warpage on the panels, but it is what it is. Nothing to do about it now. So it's kind of warped sort of upwards there, but when you come over to this side, it's warped there as well. But it is what it is. We've done the best with the panel gaps as best we can. Again, you know, we're not going for show car looks. It's got a function. It's got to be light. So you know, it's definitely doing that job very, very well. So to take the bonnet off, I know it's pretty simple or pretty obvious. You undo all 4 bonnet pins. This one's a bit sticky. And there we are, bonnet comes off, and obviously bonnet goes on. Pretty simple. Boom. 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 This front one needs a bit of tweaking, but yeah, really happy about it's come out. So I kind of want to go on to the back, but I think while we're on the bonnet, we'll get on with the bonnet vents. So this year we're going to change the style of a bonnet vent. So that's the style we had last year, sort of like one big massive vent. It looks great to begin with, I loved it. The problem is it's just a weak design, and with no support rib down the centre, the amount of times that we've had to re-weld the fins on this last year, well and this year actually, takes the piss a bit. So I designed these vents for Ilya last year for his Clio, based off some measurements that he gave me. While we had a set laser cut for him, I had a set laser cut for myself. We just never actually got around to fitting these on our Micra. Easy construction, so we've got the outer vent which goes on the bonnet. We've got like a little retainer ring, so the retainer ring goes on the underside of the bonnet, just so it's got something to sandwich in between. And then we have a gurney flap. The gurney flap goes on the leading edge of the vent, and what that does is that as the air passes over it, it causes a vortex, and it actually helps draw the air out of the bonnet. So if you didn't have the gurney flap, what would happen is that the air goes over the vent and actually traps the hot air in the vent rather than draw it out. Very important that you have a gurney flap. Now, I need to fold this, so I'll show you how it goes together when we get that far. But yeah, it worked really well on Ilya's last year, so I'm happy that the design works really well. And obviously all the fins are adjustable. You know, they come sort of like in a flat pattern like that, and then you just sort of bend the fins to your desired angles. Yeah, all we've got to do really for these is dead easy to fit. Find the position on the bonnet with our little retainer in here. We're going to draw inside, that's going to be our cut mark. Then it's just a case of drill a series of holes and a load of pop rivets. So yeah, it shouldn't really take too long to do these, but I'm really itching to get these on because it's really going to transform the look of the front of the car. Right, so there we go, that is the front of the car all buttoned up. We've got our bonnet latches in, we've got our vents in, really happy how it's come out. Just need to do again just a bit of panel trimming just to make the gaps a bit better. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's come out. So now the front end's done, we're going to focus our attention on the rear of the car. So we originally tubbed these arches because what was happening is that originally the steel was about where my thumb was. So as the suspension went up and down, the tyre impacted the steel, and it just caused a lot of rubbing, obviously, and it also unsettled the suspension. But it also meant the ride height had to be quite high, almost higher than factory. So it's always been something that's bugged me. It's just it wasn't a 2-minute fix to do it. So altogether, I think I've spent about 4 days total in the previous video putting all these arches back together. So our original plan was to mount these fiberglass arches that we had done from our moulds, and then when Rusky was here, he couldn't resist not having the rear arches match the front, so he's made us some rear copies of rear arch. Now weight wise they were 1.1 kilograms and these were 360 grams. No, they were 300 grams, and we've actually still got to trim them, so they're going to be stupidly light. The benefit of doing that as well is, if you remember, we were having to cut out these arches. We're going to have to cut out this big lip here, and obviously now on this copy carbon one, that lip doesn't exist, so we've now got maximum ground clearance, which is pretty good. So before we can start mounting them, we need to put the rear bumper on and bolt it on. So we've got a datum point to line up the rear section of this arch, which would be this bit just here. But before we mount the bumper, we've got to trim it. Now the bumper should only have to go on once. There's no reason for it to keep coming on and off. So we'll get the bumper down, trim the bottom of the bumper off, and we're also going to cut a lot of that steel crash bar out as well to reduce some weight on the rear end. So yeah, just gonna jump straight into it yet again, and we will come back to you when we get to some sort of point that's worth talking about. So yeah, time lapse. Right, so we've trimmed and fitted the rear bumper. I did manage to weigh it. It comes in at 2.7 kilos. So we've managed to shave 3 kilos off the rear bumper. Probably a bit more in it by taking a bit more of the steel out, but the way that the bumper attaches is by a couple of non-reverse clips. So they sort of like push on and then the clip pings up and holds it in place. So now we've got the bumper on, we can now start to look at fitting our arches. So now we've got somewhere to aim this. That's what we're looking for really. Now, these two pieces are fighting each other here, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to trim this lip off to start with. And I'll probably trim this lip off down here as well, because I think what I'm going to do is the same what I did in the front by drilling a couple of holes here and going up into the sill. And then we'll trim the carbon down, so if you see this lip here, we're going to follow that lip all the way around and give us a nice like 1.5 inch band to sink a couple of rivets. And I'm not going to bore you to death by talking step by step. I'm hopefully going to cover enough in this next lot of video footage for you to understand what I'm aiming for. So yeah, have fun. Right, so some pretty sick progress. We've got the driver's side arch all riveted on. We've used some riv nuts and we've used some black tinted stainless bolts. Obviously that's important, make sure they're black plated stainless rather than just normal black, because they will rust. These won't rust. So yeah, really happy with how this has come out. Now I might just trim a bit more of this inner bumper out. I mean, as you can see, we've been contacting it. I'm going to guess that's with these bigger wheels that we've been running this year. So that must be brand hatch damage. Now, an issue which I should have realised but didn't realise is that the head of the riv nut obviously doesn't sit flush with the body panel. It sits proud, maybe about 1mm. So as you can see, as we sort of like pan around the arch, you can see daylight, and that's because as the bolt pinches to the riv nut, it actually forces the panel back out a bit. Cosmetically, you won't really notice from a distance, because like, as Ilya says, you know, from here it looks absolutely fucking mint. When you're 2 inches away, you realise that there's a bit of a gap there. So off camera I did put a bit of trim around it, a bit of channel trim, and it just looked really weird, so I took it off. I'm not too bothered about the panel gap. You know, again, we're not building a show car here. So yeah, that is the driver's side all done. It actually didn't take me as long as I thought it would, so hopefully the other side's not going to take me that long either. Yeah, and we're just going to crack straight back into it because time's getting on today. It is a Sunday, it's about 5 o'clock, and I really want to get home. Boom, and there we go. We have got the passenger side done in record time. We're really happy with how it's come out. Maybe just got to adjust the panel gap on the rear bumper on both sides. Stick out a bit further this side, so I think we've just got to elongate the hole in the bumper to sort of move it over a bit. But yeah, what a look that is. Now, the only thing that looks out of place now is the exhaust. Obviously, previously it was aiming for that cut out in the rear bumper. and that cutout is no longer there. So I'm debating if we've got time after Alton Park is to sort of raise that a good 4 inches, because then we're going to have plenty of room for a diffuser. So that's the next part of the plan, is a diffuser. Right, so now we got that far, I suppose we best tackle the other issue, which is the reason why we've gone for all this effort to tub the arches and to make the carbon fibre arches, so we've got loads of extra clearance in there, and that is to lower it. So on the rear we can go a good 2 inches lower on the rear, and then on the front we can go a good 2 inches lower on the front as well, and that'll still give us a bit of a front rake, so all the weight's on the front axle where the power is. You know how to lower cars, so I'm not going to bother boring you to death with how to lower your car on coilovers. So just going to do a quick time lapse, and then hopefully the next shot will be the car outside the workshop in the sun, posing, looking absolutely sick at its new ride height. So cue time lapse. Now I've done it this way because I've not seen this in the flesh yet, so we're going to see it together. Mate, that's transformed the look of the fucking car just by lowering it 2 inches. Are you for real? Oh, look at it. Just fucking look at it.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
Oh mate. Mate. That's fucking sick. Ah, fucking hell. That's how low it should have been when we first built it. In fact, it was that low when we first built it. But we had loads of clearance issues almost immediately on the first test day, so we had to raise it that 2 inches to get all the clearance against the bodywork. And of course, all that bodywork clearance isn't an issue anymore, so mate, that's fucking sick. Dead happy with that. Dead chuffed. So yeah, we'll have a quick walk around the car, and then we'll end this video. So yeah, as I've just said, you know, I'm absolutely over the moon with how this looks now. Hopefully it's going to perform a lot better now with all this extra ground clearance, and hopefully the drop in the suspension is going to help it handle and remove that weird bouncing oscillation that we've got. The bonnet vents, again, massive improvement over last year's bonnet vent. Hopefully should work a load better as well. Obviously we've got a little gurney flap here to disturb the airflow to help draw hot air out. I've actually just realised we've done this whole video and I've not actually mentioned the carbon fibre roof. So yes, we've got a carbon fibre roof as well. Yeah, it's carbon. That isn't, you know, we've not just skinned over the steel and kept the steel. What's the fucking point in that? We're just adding weight, not removing weight. But yeah, Ilya was right, you know, if you stand this far back now, carbon looks really good. I mean, it looks really good when you're up close, but I just know there's going to be a load of dickheads that are, you know, oh, well, it's not show spec, it's not smooth, or it's too dry. It's not dry, you dickhead, it's just you don't understand the method that we've used to make all these parts. Put the rear carbon arch in the sun when it glistens is really good. And that little issue where you know, it's coming off, you know, you don't really notice it from this far back, so I don't think I'm going to bother really sort of doing anything to rectify that. I think it looks alright. Cutting the rear bumper down gives it a real sort of aggressive look on the rear end. Hopefully it'll look a bit more aggressive when we've got the big wing on tomorrow. Should hopefully find out about the windscreen tomorrow. Because again, I've not mentioned this yet, so we had the windscreen taken out by a professional, and while I was in storage, it obtained this little crack here, and then when prepping the glass to go back on the car, it cracked. I'm not sure how you can see it, but it cracked along the middle. Actually stems from like a little stone chip that was underneath the windscreen banner. That was actually a stone chip as well, that was underneath a sticker. Annoyingly, the only stone chip it had in it hasn't cracked. So I'm waiting to hear about a new windscreen, hopefully tomorrow, which should hopefully be fitted Tuesday. If we can't get one in time, I've already checked with the scrutineers, and that windscreen is fine for scrutineer. So a bit of a fuck about of, you know, fitting a knackered screen, taking it back out and then fit a new screen when it comes, but you know, we've got to do what we've got to do to get the car this weekend. But yeah, really chuffed that's come out. So a big massive thank you to Ilya from Rusky Weld Fab. Massive thank you to Ilya from Rusky Weld Fab. One of the best things that I've had from being as part of Time Attack is the friendship. You know, the contacts you get, everyone's willing to help everyone. Case in point of Ilya, you know, I sort of jived, I was joking, I think you should make some carbon bits of the Micra, and he jumped at the chance. I couldn't say no, and before you know it, he's in my workshop for a week making all these masterpieces to make the Micra lighter. It works both ways, you know. We're obviously helping Ilya on a project which I'm actually pretty excited to help him with, because hopefully we can then sort of backtrace that and do what we're doing in his car to my car next year, which will look pretty fucking sick. I'm not going to spoil what we're doing. At the end of the day, it's Ilya's content and Ilya's project. We're just helping. But yeah, Ilya, I know you're watching, mate. Really appreciate what you've done for me this last week. I'm going to apologise for the 1,000,001 PMs that you're going to get asking about how much it's going to cost to do it today at Micra, so I'm really sorry about that. And if you're that guy I'm about to message Ilya, make sure you got your spends ready, because what we've done here isn't cheap, and Ilya has done me a massive favour doing this. So prepare to get your pennies out. Carbon fibre isn't cheap. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to end this video here. It's probably a long video, so if you're still here watching, thank you, I appreciate the support. But yeah, next video will be Alton Park. I'm not going to bother filming, well, doing a dedicated video over what's going to happen in the next couple of days, because you've seen us put this car together many times before, so there's no point filming it again. What we'll probably do is we'll do it with different brands hatch, because actually people quite enjoyed that, the sort of like the summary leading up to the day, which is pretty cool. and a journey down in the mobile hostel. So yeah, hopefully we get the like a little time lapse of all the stickers going back on, which is a pretty shame to put all the stickers back on because it looks sick or black. It really does. Maybe one day we'll take the stickers off it for winter and just roll around in it all black for a bit. Looks cool as fuck. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video very shortly.